phone number because they had troubles in the meetings. But not from them.
There we go. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to officially open the Wednesday, October 20, Southampton Planning Board meeting. And we have members present for a quorum, but aren't available tonight. We're Cindy Palmer and Paul Fergal, so we can continue on anyway. Tonight's first agenda item is an A&R plan submitted by Susan Cody, 32 White Loaf Road. And the owner information is John, hopefully I pronounced this correctly, Labudik, 48 Middle Road, and I'll give you folks a copy of the map so you can follow along. You guys share that, or you want another one?
That's good.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, if you would explain, Susan, it appears to me you're just adding a small parcel to the existing lot, correct? Could you go up to the podium for us, please? By the way, I received Susan's check for $125. So tell me about your plan here. It's just adding a small piece, correct?
Yes, it is. It's because the house itself didn't have sufficient area on that side for the sanitary.
For the sewer or the septic?
I guess it's the leach, I think it was the leach field.
Uh-huh. So this looks like, this is a carved-out parcel, an existing parcel of some other land that you own, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a little bump out. Does everybody kind of understand there?
Yep.
What they're trying to do? They're just adding some more
Pretty simple.
land there?
Yeah.
Looks pretty straightforward to me. It's not going to, how many other acres do you have there, by the way?
I think that parcel has 40, the large parcel.
Right. Any questions from the board?
I have no questions about this.
No questions.
Sarah? Then I'll entertain a motion to accept this small little transfer of land for them.
I will make that motion.
I second.
Motion is made by Dan and seconded by Sarah. Any other further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
So this is approved. Now I'm going to, you guys don't have to do this, but I think I'm going to make you feel good by signing your names to a plan. The board is, we used to all sign these plans, and then we voted a couple of years back that rather than have 5 people sign all these copies, the chairman signs it. But
Yeah, it's
seeing as you
commander in
guys are
chief.
new, I think it's time for you guys to sign one, just to make you feel like you're part of the place.
Like I actually attended a real live meeting on a Zoom meeting. Oh. Which I much prefer over Zoom, I'll say it first afternoon.
I'll start signing some more here and passing that.
Up to you.
Do we each date or just you date and then we each sign?
Go ahead. No, just that one date is fine.
Yeah, use that. Take them down and pass it around.
Didn't take you long to sign yours, Sarah, huh?
Basically, it's S scribble, S scribble.
As long as you get the S's in there, you're okay.
I wish they were all this easy. Sorry you had to wait so long. You came in between meetings, so I had to put it off until tonight. All right, and I'm going to keep 4 of these, and you can have the rest,
Thank you.
including the Mylar, which you'll need anyway for the registry.
And your pen.
Here's Cody.
Paul, you need this one too, right? You need this one? Oh, no, she needs
No,
that.
that's the way she files in the registry.
So these are,
Stand first. All right, thank you.
Paul, your pen?
Let's see here. Next on the agenda is Mr. Gielaher here, who slid in after I had done my agenda, but I couldn't refuse him, because it's always good to see Ryan. So, you're here for a couple of reasons. One is seeking a bond reduction for Fitch Farm Way. Ryan,
Right, so I think it was June?
Yeah.
July? It was on a Zoom, and I just needed that form to send to the, I think we agreed down to, it was 100-something thousand.
you just had like top course left or something at that point, right?
Yeah, which ironically, we're putting that down tomorrow morning, which is fine. I'm okay with getting that original letter in, and then what I'm trying to do, just so you guys are aware of, is I'm trying to get, after that is in, the sidewalks in, the street trees, and get the as-built while I have the weather on my side, to then basically try and get Levesque to do the survey and as-built and get it in your hands so it's good to go. We're not trying to do it 3 weeks before the annual town meeting and try to get it accepted next year. So I'll end up having to go through this winter maintaining it.
right.
Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people living in there now, out of 8, 5 or 6, yeah.
All the lots sold?
Yep.
So, and if you saw a late email that he sent today that you're putting on the top coat tomorrow, is it?
Yeah, we cleaned all, Randall, I had talked to Randall last week or so. I talked to him a couple weeks ago, but last week we met. I had him do a ride-through to make sure there wasn't any issues before the top course. We cleaned the catch basins. We cameraed the piping for the drainage. I had 2 issues at one drain manhole and one catch basin, which I informed Randall and also John Furman of that. We've corrected that today. I took pictures of the correction, so I'll get one of the pipes that got crushed. I don't know, I think when they put it in with a machine, but it was about a 2-foot section. So that, the pictures of the correction with all the other camera work for the drain line, I will have that put together, because that's part of one of the requirements, the new regs for the...
Now, John Furman will probably be over there, right?
Yep, I did call him and let him know we were gonna be there, and they'll be starting at 7:30 as well, so I would assume he'll be going through. Allied Testing will be there to do compaction testing. Randall's gonna swing through, so.
John Furman, by the way, is the super for the site. Or
The peer review for the town.
doing the inspections for us. so.
And we, as the board, hire him to do that?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
just learning.
After the subdivision was approved, we then hired John, VHP,
Yep, yep.
to monitor goings on over there. And he had sent reports off and on. There's been little going on there recently, so we'll get another report for him soon about the final.
Yeah, once I get him all the video and photos, he'll basically, except for the street trees. So I did ask the question too, because it talked about a couple different varieties on the street trees, and you had said go to the tree warden, who is technically Ron Lauren.
Yep.
I got to lean on him a little bit more to get an answer, because I want to get those in as well, as far as the variety and species that he wants.
Do you have like a recommendation that you could?
They gave like 3 options. I mean, it's at the point now with the nursery, it's like what's available and what we can kind of get. I'll go back and look at those. And I didn't really push Ron too hard. I asked the question because in the summer I wasn't going to put them in and deal with drought and having to water and know that I'm going to lose some of them. But now is like kind of, I'm at the point where we can do it, and it's good season to change that.
Do you have any recommendations from your end of it, Sarah? I know you're new, and we usually defer to the tree warden because that's what he does. But have you any ideas yourself that given your experience?
I don't have any particular tree recommendations. I would lean on somebody like a nursery, I think, or if the tree warden has something. I just didn't know if the nursery you're using has a
There was,
recommendation.
I think it was 3 options for the street trees, and then it said, Levesque had put that in, there was the 3 options, and it was like, to be determined by the planning board. So I'll get with Ron and try to resolve it, and I'll make sure I get you an email, like, this is what we're doing, so it's on record, so you know that what we're putting in is.
Is there a deadline, weather-wise, for you to plant those? Like, seeding, there'd be a November 15th deadline? Do you?
We're trying to do it in the next couple weeks, so, I mean, it's on my risk. I just know that if we put them in the spring, it probably wouldn't have rained like it did all summer long. So we didn't, expecting the summer to be, because it's very sand and gravel over there, so it's free draining, so we would use a ton of water, and I was trying to wait for the fall, but I didn't want to put them in till the paving and the sidewalk, just because of construction control.
Getting back to the bond, Ryan,
Yeah.
so you want to reduce it, the original one was for 100,000.
No, the original one was like 498.
Oh, 400, okay, all right. So what do you expect you want it lowered to?
I thought the last number, I'd have to go back through, but it was like, I think Paul came up with, it was, I'm going to say between 1 and 120?
Yeah.
It was like 118 or 150, I don't.
John Furman, back a year ago, when your bond company sent out a form that I had him fill out,
Yeah.
at that time, and that was a year ago, what is the amount of the retainage withheld? And he said $100,000 he put on that.
Okay.
But I'm not sure where he came up with that figure, because you're right, the bond is right here, I've got it, it's 498.
Right.
So what's left to do, and what's your best guesstimate that you feel
So,
comfortable
I mean, I could, after tomorrow, all I have is as-built and street trees.
Yeah.
Which, real dollars, you're probably 20, 25 grand. I mean, you want to hold back 50, I'm fine with that. I mean, I was trying to get it down to that 100.
All right. So, that's fine. So, you're guessing 50 will do it with what's left, or more than enough?
Right.
Right, okay.
Because ultimately, I mean, it's fine either way if we can reduce it to the 100, wherever we were. And I just wanted to kind of give a heads up, like, I'm hoping in the next 45 days, I'm coming with everything to get it to you, to get it, you guys to accept it so it's ready and can go to the select board, so it's on for that agenda. And I don't, because it seems like.
You know that's quite a bunch of paperwork to get together, right?
Yeah, Levesque and my attorney are handling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
there's also a deed document that they require too. Did you know that?
Yeah, that's for them to.
Yeah, all right. But I mean, Ed Gibson, when he came on board, evidently we hadn't been doing it years ago, but he required, I don't have my
I mean, I'm saying in the next 45 days. I mean, realistically, it's probably going to be like January or February till we kind of get through all this and you guys have it. I know that May meeting comes, and I don't want to be here in front of you like April 15th, trying to get it in because it's got to be on the docket. There's all that sensitive, like, so I'm trying to get it to you guys like before February 1, so I'm not up against it. And then, because if they don't have an special annual town meeting in the fall, then I'm pushed back.
All right, so let me entertain a motion to reduce the bond to $50,000 for the remaining work, which Ryan says is trees and what was the other?
Before that, I'm confused about one thing. I thought we had already agreed to reduce it to 100.
We did, but for some
What
reason or
happened?
other, it slipped.
It just didn't get...
Yeah, we talked about it. I kind of forgot. I
Okay,
think Paul kind of forgot. So, yeah.
Okay, so that's the history there. I was just
Yeah,
wondering-
so, I mean, yeah, after tomorrow and it's paved, and I'm fine if you want to wait to say, as of, if you verify with Furman and Randall on Friday that it's been paved and done, that it's reduced to 50, but, I mean, they're going to be there, Warner Brothers is paving it at 7 a.m., so.
What did you say, trees and what was the other thing?
As-built and survey?
As built. Yeah, I'll confirm it with John, and if he is in agreement with it, then I'll send a letter out,
Okay.
and it's going to this company that I have the bond information on, or do you want it to go to you?
It goes to them and just CC me on it.
Right,
So then I know, then I can push them that day.
okay. All right, so I want to entertain a motion to reduce the bond on Fitch Farm Way Estates to $50,000. Do I have a motion?
Well, I think we want to add to it with, after the
After inspection. Right.
yes. Otherwise, we'd hold to 100, so.
Is that a motion, you're going to make that motion, Dan?
Yes, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and second. Any other further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Ryan.
Okay?
Can I ask a quick question while we're here just about this? So I understand as the work gets done, your bond gets reduced, but how is the, like a warranty on things like the trees or grass in the spring? How is that handled? This is like a I'm new question.
That's a really good question.
I don't have my subdivision regs with me, but there's something in there on it.
I can take a look too.
Well, you've got to place the binder, you've got to go through one season, one winter, so I'm like at 15 months with the binder, I think.
I thought you meant the trees.
Well, I kind of.
Well, no, the whole thing, like, yeah.
Warranty on everything.
When you get the bond reduced to 0, I think your question is, how does the town have like a 1-year warranty on the, I don't know how exactly. I'm still trying to close Hallion Way out, and I'm having struggles with Ed trying to get some things worked out. I know you're aware of those, and I've got to actually, I have to lean on him a little bit more because I've been stalled for like 4 months.
Yeah, you were hot and heavy on it for a while, and then all of a sudden you hear it.
So there's another subdivision that I have that is finished, it's been finished, and it's slowed up because waiting on the engineer to do the as-built, waiting on my attorney to kind of pull it together. So in creating the as-built, a little piece of the sidewalk is out of the 50-foot right away. I mean, I'm talking one area it's 2 inches, another area it's 6 inches. So these houses have been finished, the road's been done for 3 years. So I went to Randall, I went to you guys, like, hey, if I could adjust the easements, with the homeowners instead of tearing everything back out to put it back in for a couple inches. Randall was okay with it, but Ed was working on getting legal opinion, and I don't think he did. I can't say that he did or didn't, but it's kind of been stalled, and I've been, I'm a little bit relaxed with him, but I have to definitely get back on him because I think it's pretty cut and dried. Because if I can't get an answer out of him pretty quick, I'm just going to since we're still in the season, I'm going to tear the sidewalk out and redo it to move it to 4 inches, which I don't want to do.
Seems kind of,
Right, it's not the cost, it's the fact that I need to get it finished to get it in, to get into the town meeting. I mean, I've maintained that road for 5 years. So, I mean, part of it was us trying to get some stuff finished out, but, yeah, so he's on my list to circle back with. But yeah, it's not like the road is off 3 feet the whole way. It's literally one section of the sidewalk in front of the second house on the cul-de-sac. It starts at like 1 inch and then maybe goes to 8 and then comes back to 4. And I've talked with the people, that everyone there is kind of fine with what has to be adjusted to. It's just, unfortunately, a construction fault that sometimes happens with. The technology's changed now, so things are done a little bit more accurate.
John Furman wasn't on the site then, was he?
He was on the board. He's part of that project. The time frame, just with the economy, was how you guys tighten your amount of time to build the road.
Who did the peer review on that? Anybody?
No.
Or did John, because he was on the board, take it?
That was back when Ed Colley was at the helm, so he would go out and do the inspections. I have the original approval from that. That was in '08.
Yeah, that was when I was first.
So what happened was, just, you guys weren't on the board, and not to burn up the time, but the project got permitted with an engineer, and the owner that owned the land sold me the land with the permits and the drawings. Well, that engineer passed away. So then I had PDFs and no CAD files. So then I had to have, Levesque come back in and basically recreate the whole job to survey, and so there was a lot of different hurdles through that. It was a learning experience, to say the least, so. That's why I'm trying to keep this one, the movement, especially with 6 residents in there, since they've been in there since the summer, so. And I don't want to plow it for the next 6 years.
Do you want me to send a communication to Ed?
Yeah, I'd love it, because I've emailed, I've asked, I'm pretty laid back, but it's.
All right. I'll do it, and I mean, it's not going to prevent you from keep working on them too, but I'll send something along.
No, it's like the last thing we need, and if we can tweak that, then the surveyor can put that control back into the as-built, and it falls within the right-of-way, and then everything else, my attorney's got all it worked out, because that goes back off the old forms too, Mr. Chair. It's all the old forms, like the Form K or whatever, that was back in '08 when that was permitted. Yeah, so it's been 13 years. I think it's time.
Yeah, see, and you got the extension that came during the stock market crash, was that it?
Yeah, it was when the economy, what was it, 2000?
8 or 9?
It was 8 or 9. I acquired, I think, in 9, and then everything kind of took a turn.
And they gave people.
And who was the governor? Was it Patrick? He gave everything that was permitted a 2 or 5 year extension with conservation planning or whatever, because you couldn't. Yeah, back then you couldn't. Probably in 10 or 11, you couldn't give a lot away. So we did some work, but it was.
Because Mark Gerard was on the board at that point, when I think that was that.
I think you're right.
Mark was the chairman and John was on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the neighbor across the street was a real.
So back then it was what? It was 2 years to. Was it 2 or 3 to?
I thought the original subdivision, I thought it was 3 to 5, and you guys changed it to 2 because.
That definitely was too long, yeah.
Furman made the comment that it was way too long, yeah.
See, like he was saying, when we redid the subdivision regulations years ago, the completion time, like he said, it was between 3 and 5 years. I mean, that was way too much. So now it's down to, is it 2 or is it?
2, and I mean, 2 is reasonable.
2, and then you can come back for an extension.
For an extension, yeah. I hate to say it, but an 8 to 10 lot, you're really like 3 years. I mean, if I had one, I mean, I'll be quite frank, if I had one lot sold in there right now, and we were in a different economy, I wouldn't put the top course on to try and, you know, I'm sold out of every lot, and there's, 5 or 6 people living in there, are gonna be living in there, so, and I'm taking advantage of 70-degree weather tomorrow, so that's why I'm putting the top course on. I mean, when I was ready to pave, it's when COVID originally hit, and I remember coming back from Florida, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do anything, because who knows what this world's gonna do, and then it kind of shook out, and then we paved it, and then, you know, they flew, there was nothing in the housing market for lots in town, and everything went in 2 weeks. It was crazy. I never expected that, but.
Sounds like you're motivated to get it completed then.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's with all the residents and everything, because now everyone's in there and they're like, when's the top course going on? When are the street trees going on? I'm like, you know, it's because I think 3 people moved in between July or end of July and the beginning of September, so there's a lot of activity in there.
Well, keep it up and good luck, and I'll be in touch, and I'll get
Okay.
this out on Monday after I speak to John.
All right,
Good.
thank you.
Yeah,
Have a good night.
Hopefully we see you.
I put it in my phone November
November
3rd.
3rd.
I'll call, talk to Jerry. I don't know how I missed that email, but.
And when because I sent you, and if not, I'll resend it if you didn't get it, the drafts of what we.
I just looked at my phone quick. I don't,
All right. Is it RGB or is it under your name?
no, it's just r.gielaher@gielaher.com. Well, if you send it to ZBA, it'll come to me too.
I'll send you the packet that he had prepared for the last meeting, plus what he's going to be working on.
Because Nilda gets the emails too, and she's usually pretty good about hounding me if there's something that is there if I don't.
Pretty much it was you and Jerry that were coming to the meetings.
Yeah. But if Nilda's on the ZBA email, so if she gets it and I don't respond to something, like, you know, in 8 hours, she's calling me, and she's retired, so she has time to do that.
All right, will do.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night now. Where is it? I have no other business unless these folks have something they'd like to offer. But I'll ask for reports of committees. Any updates on Sarah or Dan, any committees you're currently sitting on?
The only thing I have is the housing production plan. We're going to have our second community meeting scheduled for November 18th, so we'll be starting to advertise for that, but that'll be talking about goals for the new housing production plan. So we had the first community meeting to talk about housing in Southampton, and now the second one's more to talk about goals of what we'd like to see.
Where's that first meeting held? Here?
It was on Zoom.
How many people attended?
About 30?
Enough that we had
30? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it went well.
broken into 2 different rooms and sessions for discussion, so.
Great.
There have been a lot of community, people involved in real estate, and that really was us.
Great.
Good group of people.
Anything from your end, Dan?
Yeah, I guess one interesting thing is I happen to be on the Parks Commission, and we had put in a grant for an accessible walking path and as well as a splash pad in town, and that got approved through the state for the grant, so that may come up at the next town meeting if it makes it past CPC.
What
So
was that, a splash park and what?
a walking path. So if you notice College Highway, if you ever looked at Kona Park, now on College Highway there's like an opening, and the walking path would go along the tree line from that opening on College Highway toward along the tree line to the library. So just allow easier access from College Highway into the Kona Park.
And the other thing is did you say a splash?
Yep, splash pad.
Splash pad.
Yeah.
Is that the thing that comes up out of the?
Yeah, have you seen,
Like,
they have
like at
one
Luke Park?
at Look Park,
Yeah.
Onatuck has one too. They're fun, the kids,
Yeah.
the kids like them.
And it was actually something that the grant requesters recommended putting in there because it's something that people are using for climate resiliency on like hot days. People can go there and cool off, right?
Great.
What options do people have to cool off? So
Sounds good.
the other thing I should mention is I resigned my seat from the Conservation Commission, became an associate member, did that, so.
You resigned from conservation?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that there was an open seat in the event that someone comes along who has more experience in the area of conservation, so that seat would be available. So that was,
He's still in the movie.
yeah, I'm still an associate member.
All right, I have one warrant. I'm pretty sure you guys got the email from Richard Harris. And it actually came, I think, before the last meeting that he attended about his scope of services and what he was going to do and how he was going to do it.
Yeah.
I did think right off the cuff that the 10,000 was kind of steep, but again, he's actually kind of doing some backtracking work to get up to speed on stuff which he wasn't privy to before, so I'm going to keep an eye on the finances on that as he goes forward, and I'm going to mention at the select board meeting next Tuesday when the planning board has got to give a semi-annual report. I'm going to mention in that about funding going forward. If our funds get too low, I'm expecting that we get some support from the finance committee or whomever to continue the work on those bylaws because they're critical to the future here.
What were your thoughts on his new pay structure? That was something we decided, we talked about a little bit, we said, this is a decision we shouldn't make without Paul, you, present. Paul forgot.
His pay structure? No, that's pretty similar to Larry's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he had changed it to be more kind of goal-driven.
I'm looking at the bottom line of his, he's charging the same hourly fee that
I see.
Larry was.
Okay, yeah.
Judging by what I read in his scope of services and what he wants to do, I think he's going to be spending more time on it than Larry did, and probably a lot more in depth. I got the feeling sometimes with Larry Smith that it was, he did a good job, but it was on the fly, and it was on his terms. We'd do so much, and then we wouldn't, and, he wasn't serious about it to get it done. It was on his terms and time frame.
Yeah.
I think Richard looks like he's going to really focus on it more.
Yes, I have a sense that it will get done
Yeah, oh yeah.
with him assisting.
Yeah, the other thing I think we'll need to talk about, we can wait till next meeting when we're all here, but with Richard as well, but what he was kind of proposing last meeting was going through and doing all the formatting, making everything, bringing it more the up-to-date stuff in terms of making it all cohesive and bringing that to town meeting next year, and then going through any substantial changes after that, basically taking it in 2 phases. And we said, we'd wait until you were here since you kind of had the lead on a lot of these updates previously. But I think that's something next meeting, we'll have to talk with him about if that's how we want to
Sure.
attack it or not.
Since we're talking about it, he did submit his first bill so far, and it was for a total of 20 and a half hours, starting from the first meeting he attended here on September 16th through September 29th, reviewing bylaws and master plan, et cetera. So 20 and a half hours at $75. So I have an invoice here I'd like your approval on for $1537.50 is the total.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
A second.
Yeah, obviously, it's ramp-up time and the background and learning he needs to accomplish to be successful.
All in favor?
Yeah, I think it seems reasonable.
Thank you. And I had a chance to meet the the new accountant and assistant accountant, because I had not been getting any response from the previous person about what our balances were or anything. And in fact, I had Richard Harris's contract that I had sent over to the accounting office before the just after the September 16th meeting. And I assumed it was, processed by them and mailed back, because I left a self-addressed stamp envelope, and I asked to have a copy of it left for me in my mailbox. Well, when I was getting my mail, I didn't see a copy of it, so I went upstairs, and to my surprise, here's 2 new people in the accounting office that I didn't know had been hired. And I said, I have a contract for a consultant, and sure enough, he had a folder that he went to immediately. He says, yeah, this folder has some stuff in it. He opened it up, and there was the contract. Nothing had been done from the previous accounting person. So he signed it for me right then and there. I was able to get it off in the mail, because Richard had asked me what happened to my contract. Was it approved? I said, well, we approved it, but I don't know what happened to it after that.
Yeah.
So it's all good right now, but
In regards to accounting for 2021, they're trying to keep the new town accountant to just focus on 2022 and moving us, because we're already in fiscal year 2022, moving us forward, and we're looking at hiring an outside firm to help us do the books for 2021. So, because I know that's been an issue with other boards, who are like, can you come, emailing the town accountant saying, can you help us, rectify our books, but they're really trying to let him focus on 2022 so that we are all set for this fiscal year and hire someone for 2021, just so you know.
yeah, I'm sure I felt a lot of compassion for him when I was in the office, because I thought it was kind of a monumental task for them, and whatever they were doing, to try to decipher what's going on and what's where. But I asked him if I could get a report at some time, but I know he was busy, and I just said, when you get some free time, see if we can, because we were receiving, I think I told you before, sometimes monthly, all the time, quarterly, from Vicki Morrow and Joyce Sipek. They were very good about sending around department emails about what was in your bank account. So.
Yeah, and it's necessary, especially if you guys want to pay consultants and do things.
Yep.
So, no, I understand. Hopefully that'll happen sooner rather than, it's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Right.
So yeah, at the select board, the other discussion, the only other thing I have is, I think I copied you people about what I was going to say at the meeting coming up next week. If there's anything else I should add that you people would like to see when it comes to priorities, budget, planning for the next few months, long-term issues?
I don't have anything. I think the big thing is, making sure we have enough money to get it done with Richard, like we've been talking about, but. I had a question about, I saw you had something on there about hiring a planner. Is that something that's really been talked about seriously in the past?
I'm going to bring it up. I'm probably get nowhere with it, but
Okay. I was just curious.
it's either that or have some more collaboration with PVPC. With all the master plan areas that it falls upon planning, if you look at master plan, 80% of what has to happen in there falls on this committee.
Yeah, seriously.
And that's not the only
Okay,
plan.
then you have open space and recreation, and then you've got,
The HPP.
the affordable housing or something like that. And I said, that's an awful lot to put on a volunteer board. I don't mind doing my part, but I'm not that dedicated. I have, if someone were to put a plan together and give us priorities going forward on what the master plan should address first, or the open space and rec. If someone would put that together and then bring it to this board, then we could set dates and do it. But to get all that together and do it is just, I'm not up for it. I think it's a lot to ask a volunteer board to do.
Indeed, yes.
So I'm just hoping I might get some support somewhere down the line, whether if they don't want to hire a planning department head here, which a lot of small towns don't have, but on the same token, maybe do some more hiring of consultants to probably put these packages together, because I don't have the wherewithal. I really don't. I don't have the desire.
Yeah, or should you be expected to? That it would be the job of a professional planner who has the paid time to do those efforts.
Well, I can only refer to the Northampton Planning Board when I was on it
Yeah.
years ago. We would show up in a meeting and we would all get a folder, or even before that, we would all get information compiled by the planning department. Okay, this is what we're going to work on, but it was all organized and ready to go. They had it set. They had staff to do it.
The other concept that I thought of, because similar conversations have occurred from when I was on the Conservation Commission, was perhaps a regional cooperative. Maybe some other towns may be interested who do not have a planner in some type of cooperative sharing agreement. But I don't know, it's just an idea.
Oh, and what really surprised me a lot when I'll say Northampton again, when I read about all the grants they come upon. Now, they have staff that can do that. You know, we're missing out on a lot because we don't have anybody to do that. And, you know, that there's some dollars there that would go a long way to accomplishing a lot of stuff, but
Yes, so thank you for bringing that up to the select board, and hopefully it'll get some traction. I mean, that's all we can do, right?
well, I don't know about, you guys are younger than I am, but you see the way the trend, I think, is going. Southampton is a growing community. It's going to continue to grow because of its rural character and other areas. So all this growth is going to take somebody to concentrate on it and plan it.
Yes.
So obviously a planner, somebody who is a professional would be probably an ideal situation, but in the meantime, would it make sense to have a meeting with the master plan implementation committee with us to like talk, because it's, at least from my perspective or what I've seen, and I haven't been involved that long, is like there's this master plan out there that, you know, I read, and like you said, it has planning board for all these things. Has there been a meeting with the planning board and like there is a master plan implementation committee, right?
Cindy Palmer is our rep to that board, so
Okay.
maybe we can run that by her. She and I came to a joint select board meeting last year sometime, I thought, or the year before, maybe it was before COVID, but I thought it was master plan, and we were there as planning board people, but I can't remember the specifics. But she's our rep on that, and maybe she could tell you, but I'm sure they've outlined some of the top maybe 10 priorities they've got they want to see come about sooner than later. But I mean, when you talk about just the zoning, which is enough on our plate right now, and then you've got all this other stuff, there's no way, we'd have to be meeting just about every week or every other week to try to handle all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm just not sure what the answer is, you know, but it does feel like somebody needs to, I don't know, have exact priorities, you know, if things in the master plan are going to happen. And I know there was that master plan update. Maybe I can take another look at that too. I'm not sure what they put in that in terms of prioritization.
Now, some things will be taken care of with Richard melds whatever the master plan is into the zoning bylaws, some of that, but not all of it, certainly.
Yeah, but I don't have anything beyond that for the meeting. Is anything happening at the, I guess, just have a question. The gentleman, Dan McNichols, who was here last time, is that on that agenda for the select board, or?
That's what I'm going to be discussing also Tuesday night. They thought since planning was going to be showing up anyway at that annual, it is a good time to discuss it then, than trying to pull together a separate meeting with everybody.
Yeah, makes sense.
I missed last meeting naturally, but I'm kind of confused. Now, this Mr. McNichol lives across the street.
Yes.
Now, as far as the road and anything coming his way, I was kind of surprised because, we had this email from Randall Kemp that said, "I've no noted issues with the Felton project despite the heavy rains we have received this year. I've not received any status reports from the applicant nor his engineer, but the site appears to be stable with no active erosion, and I continue to monitor the situation." So the greatest fallout from that place from the get-go was what was coming into the street and washing across the street, whatever.
Yeah.
Now, the highway superintendent doesn't seem to have a problem with all the work that's been done up there since he got the permit last January. But what's Mr. McNichol's contention? Is he afraid some of those boulders are going to come rolling over the hill?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He mentioned that, yeah.
It's kind of a reach, unless the entire site collapsed.
I think he's also looking for confirmation. I mean, I guess there was a plan by Bucky Sparkle?
Yes,
of the
there's
fellow that
engineer.
engineers it. There was a plan put in place after what's been called a mudslide. Didn't witness it, of course, but, after the mudslide, there was a plan put in place for erosion control.
Which was this board approved.
Right, and he's looking for confirmation that that whole plan was completed.
No, it's not. It's still open, and he has at least another year.
Okay, I guess that was a question too, is
No.
what's the date on that? And we didn't know last time.
Right. Now, I looked through the stormwater regs, and oddly enough, there is nothing in the stormwater regs that says specifically 1 year, 2 years, whatever. I didn't find anything, and I was surprised. So I went back on special permits, and I couldn't find anything under special permits, but I did find something under the enforcement as far as the building inspector. And it said when permits were issued, most of them generating out of his office, naturally for building and whatever, have a 1 year. But there's nothing specific, and I didn't go through the subdivision regs which coincide with stormwater. That's a two-year to 3-year process, and there is a time limit on it. But there is nothing really in black and white on the residential, other than the fact that one paragraph in section, I think it was 10, from the building inspector that said that all permits would be completed within a year unless an extension was asked. So, given that, and residential you would expect would be done within a year. Subdivisions, no, but a residential, yes. So his permit was issued in January of 2020, so he's got until then, in my book, to get that completed, and if not, he has to come back and ask for an extension. And the main hang-up, because I read Bucky Sparkle's extensive letter, they've done a lot of work there, a lot more that was done before it all started, but that box culvert is the main hang-up, and with all the rain, they couldn't get to it because the stream kept running. There's been quite a dry spell here lately, so I'm expecting that they're going to get to that before the ground freezes. I'm hoping they do.
Right.
But it's open, and it's an ongoing process.
What's the status of the Funky's building?
building permit? I haven't any idea. We haven't,
That came up as well.
I don't know if he ever did he ever pull a building permit? Because it,
It was discussed at the last, and that was expiring.
That's what they had said that, I don't know if it was Randall or who, somebody said the building permit was expiring in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And from what Mr. McNichols said as the neighbor, nothing's been built there yet. That was the other part of the concern, is it's not necessarily for this board, I suppose, I'm not sure, but is what's going on the lot.
well, again, there is a trailer up there, but that's not this board's,
So that's part of, I think, where the concern is coming from, though, is he's
building
concerned
inspector.
what?
building inspector.
Right.
You know, he's the enforcement officer on all this.
Right, so I think that why we ended up saying that there should be a meeting is that it just felt like we keep saying different people should, which it largely comes down to the building inspector, but I think that, I don't know if the building inspector's coming to the meeting next week or not, but that's where we had kind of landed, was for the meeting with the building inspector present.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of confusion because the property has so many different permits and so many different plans associated with that, the neighbors. Like, who do I go to about this issue, and then have to go to this person about this issue, and it's just a lot of confusion.
Yeah.
He understands that the enforcement is the building inspector, but I think he also is trying to understand what is going on with that property in regards to the plans, permitting, you know, there isn't a house being built up there, but there's still a lot of things going on. So I can understand where the frustration is coming from.
I'm reading through Bucky Sparkle's email, and one thing that is interesting is he notes that they have installed culverts. Not the box culvert, but a culvert with a larger inlet in the place of that culvert. So something, if it comes up at the select board meeting, I don't remember, we never discussed the temporary culvert.
No, I don't know whether it's temporary, but again, there had been so many violations up there prior to his stormwater permit that it wouldn't put it past me if he's trying to get around it. But I sent them a letter last week and copied you people on it and asked them, you know, to expedite the box culvert. And I think before the snow flies, or maybe next month, we probably should pay a visit up there, and I'll ask Bucky Sparkle.
We should make it a public meeting, because that would allow McNichol, the neighbors, to attend, which may help to, not say, get some of his questions answered. No?
You open up, you get up there and it's a question and answer period. You know, we have meetings here.
Yeah? Okay.
He's welcome to come to any meeting.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he was on the Zoom meeting that the stormwater permit was heard. I can't remember, but you know, it was advertised, and that stretched out for, I think there was 3 meetings on that stormwater permit,
Yeah.
at least.
I'm not sure if he was owner of that house at that time.
Yeah, I
don't
think he
know.
just moved. So how does that work? I mean, if we have a
But if there are
stormwater.
butters, should they be able to allow, or I thought the butters were allowed to attend site visits.
Yeah, oh, it's a public meeting, so it has, once it has a certain number of people.
So they get special notification
Oh,
about meetings because they're butters.
that I do not.
I never sent out, no.
I just know that from conservation commission, I don't know that from planning
Yeah.
board.
Either way, if the Conservation Commission were to visit, he would have an opportunity to go there. And the reason I say that is it may help to alleviate some of his concern.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that I read, which has some teeth in it, if, again, the building inspector enforces it, there's a fine for, not completing stuff, and It's $100 a day, and for the first violation, second violation's $200, and it can be up to $300 a day. So there's fines can be imposed for the work not being completed. And that's something that, again, I found in the enforcement. I'd like to see it, I guess when we're doing the bylaws, there should be some paragraph in stormwater and accessory apartments or some of the other things that pertains to where it mentions fines,
Right.
time frame and fines.
It's very specific, time frames like they have,
Right.
1, 2, 3 days. $300 is the maximum fine, or things like chapter 40, whatever that.
48.
Yeah, that regulation that allows for fining, because it's the one that's used in the wetlands bylaw.
So that's where that is. I guess I'll find out more.
But I do like, back to your idea of the planning board agent or person, I think that would be excellent. Although we'll see what happens. I'll say that. I should be positive attitude.
Well, I don't know. If the town is concerned about its look going forward and protecting open space and other things that are important to them, you can't all fall upon a volunteer group of people to make it happen in a timely fashion anyway.
There's an investment that has to be made.
Yeah.
President, so this is, planning board under zoning, correct?
Planning board what?
Planning board,
Has a zoning bylaw.
has a zoning bylaw, and then if you deny a permit, it goes to zoning board of appeals, right? Am I getting that right?
No.
No?
No, if we deny a permit, then it goes to court.
Okay, so when does zoning board of appeals come in?
Zoning Board of Appeals is pretty much all variances.
Okay, so variances.
Yeah.
Okay, but all the zoning requests or permit requests come
Pretty much.
in? Okay.
And with the new bylaws, a lot of the work, now, right now, the way the bylaws are written, ZBA is in charge of special permits. And with the new bylaws coming out, the planning board is going to take over those to streamline the process, so when someone files a special permit, you can handle the stormwater, the accessory apartment, whatever goes with that special permit can be handled with one board rather than people running around to a couple different boards to get an approval.
I hear that from people mentioning in town, like, they don't know who to go to have to talk to about different things.
Me.
You're the
I'm
man.
getting all the calls and emails, it's me. That's on my list, too.
Yep, I understand.
Seriously.
No, thank you for
I don't
everything
think you can go
you
on the
do.
web, you can't go on the website, and it should be on the home page somewhere. What to do when you're planning on building or buying a lot?
Yeah,
So they can go and know that the first call is over there in this office over here, it's not to me.
yep.
First of all, you hired a really good contractor who was early around.
Yeah. I mean, there's some towns, I think one of them is Granby. I was looking at Granby's site. They got a good website for planning. I mean, anybody that's building or buying a residential lot, right there, things to do and a checklist of where to go to get it. Here, it's a crapshoot.
Right, yeah.
Anything else, folks?
I think we covered it all.
Did we get out in an hour, Dan? Yeah, it's almost 8:05, an hour.
Hey,
We just checked it out now. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
It's not the shortest one we've ever had, but. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry to call you out with
Oh, no.
such a little agenda, but
Hey, we're here to help, no matter how big or small.
outside of, I guess we won't have very many of these with Richard Harris being around, but it made me think that if there was only an item like this on, I probably could have done a Zoom, huh?
Whatever your choice.
You guys got families, I have to defer to that unless you like to get out of the house.
As long as you let us know ahead of time so we don't drive here. I was like, where am I supposed to be today? I was in the parking lot trying to use my phone.
I was thinking, I said, geez, it's kind of sad to drag these folks out sometimes, they've got young families, and then